Huge thanks for joining us. So, look, huge thanks for you all being here as well. The Archivist Connect, who has got me into auctions in a much larger way than I would have, you know, without a shadow of a doubt. Organising events for the last decade almost, well, certainly a decade, but property events since 2010 on a regular basis. And so I met PR, certainly not doing regular auction updates. Possibly the auction market has changed, certainly Auction House London has changed things as well, which we'll come into. So look, PR.
So just like maybe we can ask people if they can hear us, because I'm not sure how this works.
In terms of the audio, so if you can hear us, you know, give us a thumbs up, a like. We are certainly live, as it says. So just to introduce you to all the people on the table briefly, we are Archivist Connect, Aaron Yahara, Rod, Turner, and Jay Harron. So look, we're going to go through each of you individually because you've all got different characteristics. Some of you work for Auction House London, some of you just keen, well, got your book coming out, Phil, haven't you?
Yeah.
Sorry. The book is coming out in January, February. It's co-written by both yourself and Jay. So your background in auction goes back a while, and it's not just Auction House London. You're active with other auctioneers as well. So why a book? What was the purpose of the book for yourself, Jay, as well?
I think it's education. I find myself on a regular and daily basis picking up the phone to people who are looking at a property. They're really only looking at a property because of its price. And they're therefore only really accessing the auction market for that small and independent reason. Actually, there's a lot of... Oh.
The volume is a bit low.
Right. If we speak a little louder, Lana, does that help? No? We can try.
Turn it up and we can bring it.
Yeah. Do you want me to bring that?
Does anyone have headphones with a microphone?
No.
Just like normal Apple.
But we can bring this forward, Fiona. If we bring this forward.
Then we will.
And turn it.
I think this will be good.
Okay.
Well, there we go, Fiona. It's not just auctions.
Mr. Texas.
Yeah. I'll just leave you to yeah.
So look, I introduced you briefly to Fiona, the co-author, Jay. So Jay, your background, four degrees?
Three.
Okay.
Three is probably enough for most people. Some would probably argue too much for one person. There's an argument to say actually I wasted a massive amount of time and money, which probably isn't too far from the truth, considering I'm neither a lawyer, a practicing archaeologist, nor am I a psychologist. So the 3 degrees.
It's the center better.
Okay.
Ivona, is the center better? Yes, please shout.
So hopefully it is better, but if there's feedback on the volume level, we can move the camera position, so that might make a difference as well.
So let's speak louder as well.
Yeah.
So let's use the mic, so it should be fine.
So I'll briefly introduce you, Jay. Your own Auction House London is Auction House London Manager.
Yes.
What does that mean?
It means more things than you probably have time in a Facebook Live to go through. It's a little bit of everything, really. You kind of have to be a master of all trades and a jack of none, really. It's the reverse of what everyone else would be doing.
And what I'm amazed about is you've got another auction in October, literally 7 weeks, not even 7 weeks, it's 4 weeks, isn't it? So this is 12th of September, 25th of October.
Yeah.
So
it's time.
The dates seem to be on the dates. I've got my own meeting as well. It's November. Is that on purpose?
I normally like attending the event, but I think you asked me to do the auction update.
Yeah.
There's nowhere.
No.
Yeah.
And October 25th is my Central London evening. So, so your background in property is quite deep as well. It's not just auctions, is it, Jay?
No. So I started originally, I think, like most people do at a young age. I started with a estate agency. It's not a past I'm proud of, but it's a past that's part of me. I did that for a number of years. That was just in Hertfordshire, really. Just a good high street estate agent, just doing what estate agents do for a period of time. Then I worked with a developer for 3 years. That was good fun. Really helped me learn a lot more than just because an estate agent, you only see really the back end of what's going on. With a developer, you actually see pretty much, it's all front loaded for like 90% of it. And then I worked for an investment agency. I didn't stay there very long because actually the ethic didn't fit me very well. It's a really good part of the industry, but not something that I work well in. And then as a property consultant, working with high net worth individuals for 7 years, and then auctions.
Look, Aaron, I'm really delighted to see you here on time, ahead of time. Last time we didn't get you because of technology.
Yeah, I did end up making it here, but very much at the end of everything. So I was very much primed today.
Fortunately, your venues don't have any glitches in them, do they? Or that we know of in terms of finding them. Or maybe some of these.
We're in a big concrete building, and it makes it difficult to do the telephone bit because the signal's terrible. But I mean, that's the problem with every auction venue. It's either in a football stadium, the signal's terrible, or in a basement. You know, there are pros and cons. But we're in. They recently refurbished the venue that we're in now, and it's very easy to get to. Hopefully, I don't know about Aaron, but for most people.
All right.
Aaron, I haven't really introduced you. You're in the Guinness Book of Records, though. That's the key thing.
Yes,
one of the key things.
that was one of the key things. That's for public speaking and speaking for ages. There's a team of us that did do it. And
So we could do this for 24 hours.
We could do this for 24 hours.
Not 1 hour.
I just wanted to point out when I'm on a health kick that I've got green tea here. And I'm not having any of the biscuits.
Biscuits.
So I use every opportunity to, say my life kick. And I frequent the auctions. It did help. I was looking at a different auction catalogue in advance. But one of the things that I do actually love about the auctions is there are things that put people off, which for me looks like it's an opportunity for us. And I think the key thing is knowing what you're looking for, what your criteria is. And so you can also pick up stuff before and post, which I really think is kind of the source. And so I bought stuff of auctions, offline, online bidding things. I've tried those things. I'm sorry, Jeff, speaking. And some of the new things, and across property, so residential.
So it was interesting.
Yes.
Listening and speaking to Jay before and looking at the growth in auctions in the UK and
Yes.
Looking at the holistic level globally as well, looking at who the leaders are, like Australia, for example. Where do you see the auction market going in and PR and Rod? We haven't really come to you, so let's come to you first, Rod. So your background is from professional sporting background initially.
Well, attempts at professional sport. It didn't really end very well, so I decided I had to go to something else. I played rugby in the championship for a few years and ended up getting injured and attempting to make my way into the Premiership, but it never came off.
But those ethics which you learn from a professional sporting background, are really important to life, give you a foundation. But I was also reading something online. It said I know rugby is different, but most footballers.
Most sports people go bankrupt within 5 years.
I think that's probably about the finance side. Unfortunately, at rugby we didn't really get anywhere near football salary, but it's about educating yourself with how to financially, really, isn't it? And, I think I know there's certain. There's actually a property developer who we were talking about before who runs a charity which is dedicated to helping people transitioning out of sport into sort of normal life and getting into jobs and things like that, and how to live financially responsibly. It's definitely a big problem at the moment.
You've got a background which is not just one strategy, is that correct?
Yeah, I don't have one strategy, and I definitely don't believe in it. I think it's very risky to keep on one strategy. I maybe I spread myself a bit too thin, but I like to have a balanced sort of portfolio. I've been developing for just over 10 years, and also I'm building a portfolio at the moment. But for me, it's very important to make sure that I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket.
Your geographical spread isn't just the southeast, is it?
No, like I said, I was developing in London since 2007, and I always bought and sold lots at auction. And I stopped London in end of 2015, beginning of 2016, and started. Although I carry on doing stuff in London, I've started concentrating more in different regions where I think there's good capital growth. So you could probably say I go against everything that's taught in some classes where I look predominantly for capital growth, and I don't concentrate on one strategy.
So look, I know some of you are thinking, when are we actually going to move on to the lot? It's been 10 minutes already. It says it's ticking down to 11. Just some quick stats, Jay, in terms of auctions. I know you've got 7 auctions in a year.
Yes.
October and then December.
Yeah, so the one that we're discussing now is the 12th of September. The one following that is the 25th of October. And then the last one of the year is the 12th of December.
Now, there's going to be people listening at some point to this video who are thinking, look, it's too late for us to do our due diligence for the September. Even though going to hear us, we're not giving advice, we're just giving our own interpretation. How soon is the catalogue for October 25th?
It should be out about 3 weeks before the auction. That tends to be the general cycle for auctions. 2.5 to 3 weeks before each auction, the catalogue becomes live. But even though the auction is next Wednesday, there is still plenty of time for due diligence. Plenty of time. If you put the work and effort in, you will be rewarded. There's no point saying, oh, the legal pack only came out on Monday morning. Okay, you've still got the whole of Monday, Tuesday, and worst case scenario, if you love a bit of stress, and who doesn't, we're in property, you've got the whole of Wednesday morning. If it's a deal, if it's an opportunity, if you don't want to miss out, then put the work in. I know so many people out there are like, no, I need the whole 4 months to do this. Ideal. But auction, that doesn't, you don't.
That gets rid of the competition, doesn't it?
It does.
That's
It's
why
just
there's
not
deals to be
marketing.
made. Yeah.
And I would say if you start doing research on those properties here, then you're gonna have this kind of experience for the next auction.
Yeah.
So there's never too late to research, because the more you do research, the more you learn, and then you're ready for the next opportunity. Because the next auction, the lots are gonna be more or less different, but then the research is gonna be the same. So there's never too late.
And also remembering, not everything might sell. You never know what will
This is
happen
true.
in the room. So
Don't put off tomorrow what can be done today.
absolutely. So go in it and give yourself a chance.
So look, let's go straight into the lots, because we could go into a lot more detail.
It's in the book.
It's space
Link at the bottom.
So I know Jay and Piotr are doing a joint presentation when the book comes out next year as well, so hopefully that doesn't clash with an auction day. So look, I've asked Piotr, Jay, Aaron to come up with some lots. I don't know if all of you who are listening have got the catalogue in front. They can download it as well.
I'll put a comment with a link to the catalogue.
Okay,
Yes,
well,
but
okay.
you can even without the link, you can just go to auctionhouselondon.co.uk, and you'll be able to see the full list of auction lots available there. And by all means, we'll be calling out lot by lot, so you can follow online as you're watching this as well.
So Piotr, you came up, I hope I got these correct. Lot 2, was that yours?
Yeah.
So lot 2 is in Streatham, southwest London, as it says. So I think Piotr gave me 3 or 4 different lots, and Rod gave me about 5, maybe 6, something like that. So Piotr, what draws you straight away to this particular lot?
So this particular lot is super cheap, and there's a lot of problems with it, so it's really attractive. It's a
So
2-bedroom flat in Streatham, so it's like a kind of low-rise block, 6 floors, and so it's a 2-bedroom flat, and the guide price is 60k. So if that was a a nice 2-bedroom flat in this block probably would sell for about 250. Let's say, more or less.
At least.
250.
That would be
maybe
priced itself
300.
fast. Yeah.
Yeah, so 250, 300. It's guided at 60k. So, like, let's look at the problems. The problems are there's a short lease, which is 39 years left.
Okay.
So that would cost some money to extend that lease. And then another thing is we don't know who's in the property. So it's like there's someone living there, but no one knows who that is. So yes, there's no income coming in at the moment, and someone would need to basically evict whoever is in the property, deal with that, deal with lease extension, and then depending on how much that costs, this could be an amazing deal or it could be a bad deal.
Mm.
So,
I think the due diligence in this definitely caught my eye. It got sent there, and I think this is an absolutely fantastic one to keep a lookout for. And if I was going for it, the things that I would be really concentrating on, well, if you click on the legal pack, one of the concerns as well is about the lease and the title structure. There's a freeholder, then there's a head lease, and then there's a sublease. So a concern for me would be, how can I extend that lease, because I'm then asking the head lease to extend it, and do they need to get permission from the freeholder? Another question I'd be asking is, have they served Section 42 and is it transferable? Because ideally, you'd want whoever's in there now to serve Section 42 and transfer it over to you, or you're going to be waiting 2 years negotiating.
Right, do you just want to explain Section 42?
Yes, sorry, Section 42. So when you're negotiating an extension on a lease, something called Section 42 is something you serve on the freeholder, or in this case, it would probably be the head lease.
So it's a legal notice.
And what that does is it means when you're sort of negotiating the cost of how much this extension is going to be, what happens is that negotiation is seen to be the price from the time that you serve Section 42. Because what a lot of freeholders will do is they might
prolong.
Yeah, they might prolong the negotiation, because the longer that negotiation goes on for, the less your lease is, which means the more it's worth. So it's quite an important point, and you can't serve a Section 42 or apply for that lease extension until you've been there, until you've owned that property for 2 years. So if I was looking at this, part of my due diligence would be to get into contact with these head lease people, and if I can do if I can extend that lease at the same point on completion, then you're onto a real winner, because you can finance it easily with a mortgage. So you could bridge to get that mortgage term. Actually, this could be a no money down deal pretty easily if you get all your ducks in a row. I think it's very, very interesting.
And I think that's the real point, getting all your ducks in a row. So it's about how you approach it. It looks very scary, because this little sentence here, if you don't know what adverse possession is or what a squatter is, that sentence will probably make next to no sense to you. It's in bold, so it's nice and in the depth.
But I mean, when it comes to evictions, you've got to price that in.
Yeah.
You've got to just understand that there's going to be a period of time where you might have to evict someone, and you price in the cost and the time it's going to take, and it's not as bad as it always seems.
No.
Yeah,
It's all about problem solving, but with regards to the lease extension, as you were saying, it's about doing things in the right order. My first port of call when I look at these low leaseholds, most auction companies, including our own, if the Section 42 notice is definitely going to be served and the benefit passed to the buyer, there will be a note that says Section 42 notice will be served prior to completion and the right is signed over to the buyer. Now, because it doesn't say it here, it doesn't mean that isn't the case. So they may allude to that in the special conditions of sale. But if you're conscientious and you're smart, you would write an email to the auction house saying, if I buy this at the auction, can I have something in writing from the current owner saying, if I am successful, they will serve the Section 42 notice and pass the benefit over to the buyer. The one reason why a vendor won't put that in here, or one of the reasons why it isn't stipulated here, is because there is a small cost involved in doing so. And the chances are they don't want to expand that cost unless they have a buyer who is exchanged under auction contracts. So it is always worth not making a conditional offer, but just saying, hi, my name is Rod or Aaron or whoever it may be, I would like to buy this. If I do, can I get something from the vendor or their solicitor saying, If you are the winning bidder, we will enter into a Section 42 notice for you and assign that right over to you in time for completion. And really, that should cut out a lot of the huss, fuss and the guss for you. That doesn't preempt you from not making contact. The head leaseholder or the freeholder, do that. That is smart. That is very, very smart to do. But they cannot serve the full Section 42 notice for you. It has to be the existing owner. So taking that extra step, which is a 30-second email.
But also, do contact the head lease or freeholder and ask. Say, just ask them how much do you want?
Yeah.
Because it might be worth you just paying it, because in that case you can get that lease extension at the same time that you complete, which means you can mortgage this.
Yes.
And so, yeah, you might pay 20 grand over the odds, but if it means you're able to finance it straight away, then it's just a no-brainer.
And you're right, it probably actually negates the actual purchase price of the property for now. So you're buying the property for free if you know how to structure it correctly.
And just going back to that negotiation of the extension, I mean, the ground rent is peppercorn, which is great because that's going to sort of decrease the value as well. And on the point of financing, I would also be asking how many of these flats are privately owned, are any council owned, and you want to look at the proportion of that because that can affect who your mortgage is going to come with as
So
well.
I think this isn't an ex-council building. This is a privately
Oh, even
owned
better,
freehold with a leasehold owned by something like Property for Music Charities.
PRS.
PRS, yeah.
PRS.
So yeah,
The
so I think it's
other
really
interesting thing is if you make a success out of this first thing and you have done the extra work and made contact with the head leaseholder or indeed the freeholder, your next question would be, how many of these other leases are going short? Because then you could turn around to the leaseholder and say, look, I'll buy you out of this. The head leaseholder and the freeholder get their cut of the extension, and all of a sudden you turn 2 or 3 properties out of one opportunity.
Yes, so that's why this is an interesting topic.
So, because we're already on to 20 minutes and I want to try to get some more in. Number 9, I'm not sure if this is yours or
That was
Russ.
Did you look at lot 3 as well?
No.
But I mean, it's not.
Okay,
it's not
let's go
too
to lot
dissimilar. Not too dissimilar.
But we know there's a tendency, it's too simple.
Well,
So let's just give them the details. It's flat 18 in Catford. It's a 2-bedroom, 7th floor flat subject to an AST producing 11,400 per annum. So the guide price is 55k. Well, why have we missed that
The
then?
yield looks phenomenal, by the way.
well, the yield is phenomenal. It is phenomenal. I mean, obviously it's got a 46-year lease, but if you look at that, when it was given in 2004, so that's creating alarm bells for me, because why are they extending the lease only to 46 years? So what that tells me, if bear in mind I've done no research on this, is that probably all other leases are going to be up at the same time, which is why they haven't extended it to 100 or 125 years. So what that says is it's probably going to be unlikely that you're going to be able to extend that lease. So you are buying it for the next 46 years. As long as the yield is good, or 32, sorry, yeah, because it was given in 2004. So assuming you're not going to get any capital gains on exit, assuming there's no exit for that, you are really buying this in cash with a high yield, which is still,
it's just
not bad.
it's
It's
just
pretty
an
good.
income.
Yeah.
You're really buying this for purely an
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And from where it is, where it seems to be located, you'll rent it all day long.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it is just purely an income producing.
Good little pension.
For 30 odd years.
Well, assuming you're staying alive for 8 years, so yeah.
We skip to number 9, is that okay, Aaron, or is there anything in between?
No, number 9, yeah, and number 10 actually, which are quite
Yeah,
close.
number 9 and 10. So close in terms of location, in terms of lots, but in terms of geographical areas. So 9 is Mitcham, Surrey. It's a vacant 3-bedroom mid-terrace house. Guide price 285. So I'm not sure.
Was this one?
I think this was one of mine.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't look the most exciting thing as well.
Very
But
exciting.
but what I like about it is you're getting a 3-bed house in London, and it's guided at 285, houses, not apartments, are going to be a hot property going forward. This is a family home, and there's not many coming around. So if you're looking at this over a long term, I think it's a great investment. I also think, looking at how it's built, you know you've got a bathroom upstairs, there's 3 good sized bedrooms, so you know you're not going to have to move that bathroom from downstairs to upstairs. I don't think there's a huge amount of work needed. Bear in mind, I haven't been there, but obviously it's new bathrooms, new kitchens.
In need of modernisation is what I'd say.
I mean, you're not going to be doing structural stuff. You may need some new windows, but on the whole, it's a good property that's going to rent out all day. Family homes, I like them. It's a simple purchase, a quick refurb, and getting someone in for a long term.
See, this is what a lot of people don't understand about when you're looking at a property professional who's looking at something like this. What they're doing is they're saying, okay, this is a real diamond in the rough. And maybe an end user wouldn't look at that as a purchase, thinking, oh God, I've got to do X, Y, and Z. Enter said property professional who walks in, refurbs it, new kitchen, new bathroom, puts it on the market and makes it accessible to first and second time buyers. One of the things I think the government hasn't really taken into consideration. The fact that actually property professionals create a gateway to first and second time home buyers. And this is a brilliant, you know, it's brilliant. I mean, considering Mitcham, I mean, overground, how long is London? 20 minutes?
20 minutes down,
Yeah,
so
if that.
Mitcham Wakefield to the right, Mitcham, and down the corner you've got 2, you've got Modern, you know, you go a little bit that way, you've got Croydon, you know, and then it's also in Surrey.
Yes. You can say, oh, sorry. Is it a double bubble? And then moving from that Mitcham to a postcode you probably don't see a great deal in auctions. But Kensington.
So this is lot 10 now.
Who suggested lot 10?
This was me.
Was it?
So did I.
Go on, you discuss it.
No, you carry on and I'll just agree with everything you said. It works much better now.
Well, I mean, I just think this one has opportunity written all over it.
So it's a commercial property.
Mm-hmm.
It says producing 30,000 per annum with a potential of 56,000 per annum when fully let. So what attracts you to this particular?
Before you go on, let me just state that there is an addendum on this property which actually hasn't been written yet. So because I knew that this was being discussed, live on Facebook Okay. The good news here is that the, I think it's Tatiana Salon, whatever it may be called there, they had a 5-year FRI lease,
Yes.
which was coming up for renewal.
Well, it's on monthly.
Well, actually, what they haven't actually said, because the woman who is selling this is actually in a care home, she I think it's dementia or something like that. So there's people, power of attorney, acting on her behalf. And they confirmed to me last night that actually the lease was extended in 2017 for another 5 years.
Okay.
So in terms of another 5 years of income, that is really positive and shows that actually not only have they been there for 5 years already, they'll be there for 5 years more. And for an investor, showing that it's
Strong covenant.
strong covenant, they want to remain there, their business is safe and secure if they're entering into another 5 years, and you have the offices on the lower ground floor, but take it away for whatever purposes you're looking at.
I mean, pretty much that. I mean, you've got, the thing I like is there's a few different options for this. So you've got the shop, so my first thing would be to renegotiate the lease, which has already been done, so fantastic. Then you've got the office on the ground floor. So one of the interesting things that property professionals can do, especially if they want their own office or things like that, is they could set up their own trading office from there, running their business, putting their place of work there, and they can set up their lease in a way that's going to strengthen the value of that building. So for example, if my company, ITP Group, needs an office to work from, I can use that as our office. I can sign a lease over to the investment company, which I also own, which is going to be a 10-year lease. I can make it really strong, put in a quarter rent bond, I can put no break clauses in, and what that's going to do is that immediately increases the value. So when I go to refinance that, what that's showing the lender is that you've got 2 really strong leases in there, really strong covenants in there that can't be broken, and so they're going to be able to value that at a much higher yield. So that's kind of a number one thing. And then we've also got the the 4-bed flat,
Reversion.
which is 76 years or something like that.
Yeah,
on the
So
lease.
like, this is a question now for you, Jay. So it says sold off on 99-year lease from 1999.
Yeah.
So that means it was about 20 years ago that the lease was assigned. So it's about 79 years
Yeah.
left,
Yeah.
right? So in here it says 71 years left.
That I think was a maths calculation. I think that's actually been corrected on the addendum. Yes,
Good,
yes.
good.
So-
So it is 71.
So although it's a peppercorn ground rent, the bonus for here is if that's sold, then no mortgage company is going to touch that because it's under
Unless the
80
lease is
years,
extended.
unless the lease is extended.
Yeah.
In which case the freeholder, whoever the purchaser is going to get a nice healthy lump of change from that.
Yeah.
So that's another bonus.
And a little birdie told me it was on the market for like 1.45 not too long ago. So I mean, part of the calculation for a lease extension is it in London, is it Greater London, or is it further afield? What is the ground rent? What is the current price you can purchase at? And using some kind of Stephen Hawking-esque calculation, it comes up with a nice round figure for you. So the fact that the marketability of a 4-bedroom flat in Kensington is going to add a great deal of value to your freehold, and that would definitely be an upsell.
And then the other option is, obviously I didn't know about the new 5-year lease, but let's say in 5 years' time now, we've got this office, we've also got this, I think it's A1 or A2 class commercial building, and I'm not sure what the street's like, but I noticed next door is seems to be residential
It's a lot
ground
of
floor.
residential trusts, yeah.
So in that case, you're looking at PD rights. There's the opportunity there to turn that into another ground and lower ground maisonette. Potentially a similar size to upstairs, which Shay said was recently marketed for 1.4. I mean, there's a lot of scope in this one, which I think is brilliant.
Again, within 5 years, you could extend that lease, the tenant could leave, you could do the PD, and you could sell this and have actually at the end of it not paid a single penny for the entire property.
Yeah.
Again, it's all about working the purchase in the right way.
Look, I was going to say to those of you
Sorry, it's just, we're not getting very far.
online,
I think it's better to go in depth rather
Yeah,
than
definitely.
too much.
Yeah.
Because like,
We'll leave the later lots for us to pick up with you.
for those of you online, you've probably got some questions. If you do, feel free to ask. So there's abbreviations, you're wondering what they stand for. Feel free to ask as well. Look, so as I say, the next auction, which I'm going to be previewing, October's too soon for me personally, because I've got my own events. I've got my Central London evening, Wandsworth evening, so that's also preparing for the National Development Summit, which PR is co-hosting. So for me personally, it's too much to do a preview of October, but I think it's December the 12th. So literally it will be the week before that, there will be a preview of that particular catalogue. So we're on to lot 14. I think this is yours, Piotr, am I right, Rob?
possibly.
We're all fans of the short leases.
So that's another short lease, and like short leases are like super popular for auctions because it gives the investors the power to decide the price.
It's the right market for a short lease.
Yeah.
I'm sure there is a statistic out there somewhere where certain estate agents must be blinding at short leases, but I will probably stand fast this. The auction is probably the best place to market a short lease property.
Do you want to say that a bit louder? Any
Auction House
options in
London.
particular?
But no, that's exactly the point, and I'm happy to be corrected on it, but that really is my personal belief.
So flat 30 it's in Chelsea, it's a vacant 1-bedroom, 2nd floor flat. Guide price is amazing, isn't it, Piotr?
There is 150 for a flat there. It's pretty good.
So this is literally,
But it's only got a 10-year lease.
so that's the reason why.
Yeah. So you can stay there for 10 years and pay about 15k per annum for that pleasure. Or you can extend the lease after 2 years, and depending how much that costs.
Or indeed, between exchange and completion, or if you're smart enough beforehand, try and negotiate for the current owner to put in for the section 42.
So actually, I checked this property out, and it doesn't look like the current owners would be able to do that. So it would be a matter of waiting for 2 years.
So what?
Well, not necessarily.
That's also a misconception, but I'll
Is it?
let Rob go for that.
Well,
Yeah.
you don't, it's just so that you can extend a lease whenever you want, as long as both parties are in agreement.
Yeah, exactly. So
It's
like,
just about
and-
section 42.
yeah, it is, and the likelihood that a freeholder would be willing to entertain this extension
for a
2
premium?
years. Yes, for a premium, yes, but then would that make sense?
I think what you do is you look at it and you go, okay, if I'm going to have to wait 2 years, how much value is that 2 years going to add on to the
Sure.
premium?
Yeah.
And then you just factor that in, because again, if you can get finance to purchase this straight away, if that's going to cover your cost of, I don't know, expensive bridging or opportunity cost of your cash going in there, then it's definitely an option that I'm probably the first option I'll be going with.
That's probably where I find myself as well. And it's one of these locations that actually the values are very rarely affected negatively. It's a massive capital appreciation area, and I think that even if it was the 2 years, if you were in a position where you could rent and hold, I actually think that your value would maintain. But that's an optimistic
Yeah.
That's an optimistic me.
Right?
So-
And the pessimistic one.
Aaron, is there anything to add before I move on to 71?
Well, I think we've all kind of exposed our short lease preferences. And
So
71.
I've mentioned the National Development Zone. The thing I didn't add was the date. So for those of you listening, that's on the 19th of January.
19th of January.
20.
1919,
Exactly.
which is how I remember it.
Very, very easy. So
There's another lot that we skipped.
Oh,
There is,
sorry.
number 44, which I
44.
forgot to mention, but it's a houseboat in Maida Vale.
wow.
I've been to see the houseboat, so I'm one of the few people. I attended a viewing there.
So this is a kind of a Richard Branson kind of.
It's the second houseboat we've sold. Or
Is it?
Touchwood. Second houseboat we've sold.
Okay.
So this is in Little Venice, as they call it. Is that right, Jay?
Yes, yeah. Little Venice Moorings. It's for being down near central London. It is a beautiful part of the world.
Mm.
And if you look at the houses behind, you would be lucky to buy one for anything short of £20 million. And that's one that would require modernisation. So having a little gentleman who's using it at the moment uses it as an office. It's just somewhere because it's quiet, it's away from the hustle and bustle, it's somewhere where he can go and shut himself away. I understand there is room for a single bed. The kitchen living room area, it's got a little wood fire stove. I mean, wood and water, fire and water doesn't make sense to me, but it looks really good. And I mean, I'm not in a position, but I thought, what a great little, it's a great little quirk. And I think a lot of people who are open to not having to pay council tax, and God knows where that came from. What the hell is that? That was massive hair. That wasn't good on camera. I started eating hair.
we'll let it out. The excitement, Jay. the excitement.
What about the funding issues? Is only for investors? Not.
Funding issue I don't honestly know about.
I think this would be a cash purchase.
Yeah,
and it might be
that's
some
why I would have been inclined to
specialist,
think
super
it.
specialist finance, but it would probably be expensive.
But surprisingly, good interest in it. And initially I would have thought there was interest just because people are looking at the postcode, but you cannot hide too far from the fact that it's a boat, a houseboat. So people are looking at it seriously, not just at the price, but also at the fact that it's a houseboat, which is interesting to me and a good spot.
So no council tax. What's the
Mooring rights.
Just mooring rights, which is disclosed at 4,000 a year, which, again, okay, that's more than your council tax would be, but actually in terms of running a household and running a flat ground service charge, it is not too ridiculous, and it's been recently refurbished.
So so we've looked at the positives. Any drawbacks apart from the funding? If it's so it's not really
No, I think, I mean, it's, if you can't swim, I wouldn't recommend it. And I think it's great for the right person. This is just like a right property and could be used for commercial. Someone is like a therapist or something like that. Having a therapy room there.
Yeah, having
It's,
the water
better than Harley Street. I think.
And it's got a fantastic location, as you say, Jay. It's
Oh, yeah.
literally 10 minutes from central London, maybe a little bit less.
Yeah,
So it's literally quite
But I mean,
close.
you're close.
You're going there to be in that area, you're not going to be.
You've got Primrose Hill, you've got these lovely, quaint little boutique high streets, and if you're there and you're running it as an office, which I think is a brilliant idea, then actually you're right where you would want to be. I wouldn't. The distance to London to me doesn't affect me that much because it's right there.
Is that the first boat you've had this year?
Oh, this year, yes. The last one was actually, it was a house barge. It was 2 stories, 4 bedrooms, massive. And I think it sold for about £500,000, but it was moored at Poplar Dock. But beautiful, again, recently refurbished, lovely. And I don't know how strong the market is there, but there's obviously some market because people are taking a real considered look at it.
So we're going on to the 70s now. You've got 150 lots in this catalogue.
152, we've added a couple of extra special offerings towards the end, which will not be in this catalogue, obviously. A couple of bonus rounds, but they would have been brought in post the print of the catalogue.
So are they on the online version?
They're online and they'll be printed out and handed to people on the day as well. But if you go onto auctionhouselondon.co.uk, there'll be a full list all the way up to 152.
So this is an area which I know a little bit about. Edgware.
I don't know who suggested this because this is a really interesting. Of course, it's a really interesting suggestion. It is actually, and there's no hiding. It's the second time we've offered it. I would really like to hear your opinion on it because I have not mixed feelings, but I have mixed ideas about it. I want to see where everyone else is.
So it's lot 71. For those of you listening at a later time or right now. So it's a first floor and loft floor premises in a really nice location.
Edgware.
Edgware. It says a 5-bedroom first and second floor masonette.
Currently arranged to provide. I think it's 6 living rooms.
Yeah.
Producing £39,000 per annum. Again, yield on. I mean, it's Middlesex, but I would still call it London. It's the end of the Northern Line.
It's definitely in London.
It's great transport.
Oh,
You're
yes.
right by the tube on the Northern Line. I mean, you've got me nervous now. But for me, I look at this.
Oh, this is Cannons Park. This is on the Jubilee line, I think. This
Well,
one.
I think it's
Yeah.
between the both. Yeah, walk away from each. But I mean, straight away the things that came out to me were okay. This is being run as an HMO. 39 grand per annum gross. So if you take off bills, license costs, you're probably down to about 33 realistically, which is still a fantastic yield. It's share of freehold, brilliant. No ground rents. There's not a huge amount of buildings in that block, so service charges aren't going to be through the roof. The concerns are, is it fit for licensing come October, so next month?
October the 1st. So this is a really good point which Rob made. Just a little plug for my events. So,
We're going to take a commercial break now.
So the news report. So look, on the 27th of September, Richard Carney, who is one of the specialists in licensing HMOs, will be at my Central London Evening Property Network. So sorry if you go back.
So yeah, the licensing concerns would be things like fire regs, which are easy enough to install. Room sizes, that's the key thing you've got to be looking at here, because if room sizes are too small, there may not be a huge amount you can do about it. The spec inside from the pictures, bear in mind I haven't been there, looks pretty good.
Basic.
Well, it's pretty good for an Asian. It's not, it doesn't require modernisation.
No, it doesn't. For an auction property, it's good.
So I think the other point to look at is, does that area have any selective licensing? Does it come under an Article 4 for 5 units over 2 floors being in a flat? These are things that they would obviously concern me, but you can't get away from the headline figures of 39 grand gross. Obviously that's not the net, but even taking into consideration the net being maybe 33 grand a year, still a pretty chunky yield for something that's a share of freehold. What were your concerns?
Well, my initial concern actually was because I know I attended a couple of talks that Harrow and Barnet have done with regards to their licensing and their Article 4s, and I had a little ask, and it's not in an Article 4, and that really was my first bar, because like you say, the yield looks great, the opportunity is there, barring some of the potential licensing issues if there are any at all. But my first port call was, right, 1st of October, is there any issue? And actually, it's not in the Article 4, but I know that they are extending Article 4, so I don't know if it's going to be part of the
even
extension.
better. That's even
Yes,
better, because
absolutely.
it means if you can get it operating like that,
Yeah,
it's going to have existing use conditions,
Yeah.
so it means it gets planning automatically through
which
that.
was why I was hoping, fingers crossed, that it wasn't in the Article 4 yet. But they haven't actually released where they're extending their Article 4 area yet. And if it does, like you say, then you're locked in. It's a brilliant
I mean,
opportunity.
where else can you get a yield like that in London? I don't know.
Say to
I mean,
London, gerrymandering.
Yeah.
Look, I'm just going to let the listeners know that we were going to look at 72, 76, I think it is, and there is one more, 110. So I think we're going to get 2 in, maybe just 1. So
Is it okay if
So that
I make a
someone,
suggestion for a lot?
yeah, and maybe
Oh,
someone
okay.
from Facebook makes a suggestion, like
But
if
we've got-
someone is interested in a lot that we can maybe discuss, yeah, then
we've got 9 minutes left.
yeah, well,
That's all right.
I don't mind running over.
over.
We'll just barricade the door. It's all right.
So what lot did you want to discuss, Joe?
I would like to discuss lot number 80.
80. So this is flat 15 in Chatham, Kent, 2-bedroom vacant, 2nd floor flat. Wow.
The developer in the room is taking really, really good care to look at the external part of the building. Has probably already surmised the primary issue, which is highlighted in the note if anyone wants to take the time to read that carefully.
So the guide price is 25,000. PR, what draws you to this or doesn't draw you to this? And Rod, Aaron.
yeah, so it's one, it's Chatham, 2, it's looks like a high-rise kind of 8 floors, possibly 7, 8 floors, and possibly not mortgageable because it's below 40k and it's the kind of block, and there's a £250 ground rent, so there's a lot of things in there that just like put me off, and then there's this prohibition order which I don't know what that means, so that definitely puts me off. I'm out.
In effect, it says by the council.
Yes. So I guess the most part here is I haven't seen the prohibition order, so I'm working off of pure base knowledge. But I imagine Rod will have half an idea as well.
Well, I imagine it's something to do with the externals, possibly the way it's built, maybe cladding, which would be an issue which they're probably looking into. But I can't actually see. We can only see part of the building there, so
Yeah,
you're not quite
so
sure.
The reason for that is it's a prohibition order preventing anyone from accessing the common parts. They can't prevent you from accessing your flat, but they can they make it very difficult for you to open the bloody door to it. So this is a prohibition order.
Something
Um,
described.
So
Also, you've got the sort of concrete staircases and the balconies, which I think may be part of the issue.
Yes.
So obviously, concrete construction is seen as not a normal construction. It's always a bit of a nightmare for mortgaging, as are external balconies, which I think there's a couple of their walkways. So yeah, those would all obviously be the concerns, but I suppose it's reflected in the price, isn't it? So as long as you get a ladder for your tenants, you'll be all right.
I have dealt with a few prohibition orders in my lifetime, but what I do like about prohibition orders is, especially if the freeholder is not an active freeholder, you then get the residents of all of the flats together, and there's a lot they can do to rectify those issues. I mean, obviously there'll be costs. I imagine a lot of these issues are born out of the fact that there probably isn't a great deal of money in any sinking fund, and possibly that the block had been mismanaged previously. But my opinion,
Could be looking at purchasing a freehold.
£250.
but if you can create an RTM and maybe even buy out the freeholder, I would turn that into a share of freehold.
The only problem is there are a lot of units by the looks of things.
There
so
are.
getting everyone together.
Fortunately, one gentleman owns at least 15 or 20 of them
It's
that I'm aware of. The gentleman that's selling now, he owns, I think, 2. So
Okay.
they are owned in block
That's interesting.
by a
yeah.
majority of people, which is one of the reasons why I mention it, because actually that is one of the bars would have been one of the bars to me approaching it. If it's owned by 60 different people, then I would.
But how many people do you think have been put off by not knowing that here? So we'll
Not a
not be
great
going
deal.
for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not a great
Yeah.
deal. Which and that is one of the reasons why we're moving ourselves towards rising, but and B, one of the reasons why I want to raise it here, and C, one of the reasons why I think actually, if you are a problem
There's an
solver,
opportunity there.
you would approach this in the right way. Actually, what you would probably want to do is actually probably approach the local authority to see if they'll do a CPO and probably go for demolishment. If you can't access the property, and at least if you CPO it, they won't take it off of this purchase price. They would have taken it off of a bricks valuer, which I'm not espousing in any way because they seem to be downvaluing something ridiculous at the moment, but it would definitely be more than that £25,000 I hazard.
Do we have time for one more?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
If we go for lot 72, which is land, because we haven't looked at land.
So it's more than a land, it's like a storage building which has got very weird shape, and it caught my attention because one of my, I got a property for one of my clients which is about 50 meters from this piece of land, and it's weird, it's like, I don't know, it's falling apart, it may be used for something, it may not be used for something.
It's weird and wonderful, it's in the right place.
Yeah, it's the perfect auction property again, because it's just like you don't know what to do with it. But then it only costs 15k, but the guide price is 15k. So there is some potential with it, and I thought it would be good for discussion.
I actually wrote this, I write up the majority of the lots in conjunction with the auctioneer, but I actually wrote this up, and for a long time I was trying to figure out from the street view, so I haven't been down there, what it was that we're actually saying. Someone said, oh, it's just land. So I sent a picture of the street view, which was actually this from the retreat, which is the side road that you can see running along here. And I was like, what is it, this land? And my colleague just said back, yes, of course it's that land. I said, well, this building's in the way. He goes, don't worry, I'll ask the venue. He goes, yes, it includes this building. I was like, that is a really big upsell. I mean, just owning a strip of land to the rear of shops, that's a really good thing to own, because what I would do is I would get someone out there and I would put some parking bays there if you had the width and the length, and then I would probably sell those off. But I mean, this is probably even better than that.
You can look at sort of, obviously this building's not brand new and it's been through, it's been up some time. So it's looking at what the history, what the use class of it was. Looking if there's PD rights.
Yeah.
Looking if there's certain other rights for a new scheme. I mean, there's so many well-designed, very, very thin buildings in London at the moment. So I think, yeah, there's definitely something that could be done with it.
I would like to know what it was last used for, and more importantly, when it was last used for that purpose. Because if you don't use something, I believe, is it 10 years? You can actually query the class use of the property. It can go into sui generis and things like that, but actually that opens up more doors than it closes. So that's actually a really interesting one. I quite like it. I mean, Thornton Heath, it's just off the high street. If there aren't a million and one things to do, there's at least 10.
Just put a roof on it and have a little parade of little shops and pop-ups, and you know, I mean, you can just, for 15 grand where it is.
A couple of thin storage containers out there.
Storage containers, base the restaurants do Deliveroo's.
So, look, for the listeners out there, this hour has gone really quick. So maybe our next 24 hours or something. I don't see it impossible, because we've looked at literally 7 lots in the hour. I just want to say a huge thanks to Jay for making this possible, because this event was created, I would say, partially by accident. It wasn't initially. When Jay was here last month, or last time, I think it was in July?
Yes, July.
You know, it was literally, wasn't supposed to be specifically about the catalogue and Auction House London, but it's great to have live case studies, which you can actually see what's going to happen literally in less than a week
And what's
from
a
now.
really good tie-in is we were doing that live Facebook Live, and someone who was actively online commenting is now here today, which is brilliant. So who knows, if you're commenting, you may be able to sit here next time, who knows?
There's Colin, who's a planner,
It's Colin.
Yeah, Colin
Yes.
Smith who's on, so let's see
Yeah.
who we have in next time.
And next week after the auction, you can actually rewatch this video and see how.
Oh,
Oh, brilliant. So, we're going to come to an end.
We
So, we are being evicted from this particular. So, you want to press the off button.
Yeah.
But you can join us again, as I say, in December. I think it's going to be December the 6th or December the 7th.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Cheers. Bye bye.